Good afternoon, everybody. It is June 12th, 2019. Today I'm going to be talking about a recent document that I just came across. It's about Mexican Americans' involvement, especially from Orange County during World War II. And I was just scrolling through Twitter and then I just came across this. It's from the Los Angeles Times. And I think it's very interesting, actually. It's about retired Judge Frederick Aguirre, and he has dedicated recently his whole life researching and documenting about Mexican Americans from Orange County and what their role that played during the military, like throughout military history. But in particular, it was World War II that he got his interest in. They felt like a lot of Mexican Americans weren't getting that much recognition, especially during wartime, especially because Mexicans usually get classified as whites and then anything else. So Hispanics usually get underrepresented in during the military careers of the U.S. history. So most of the time, a lot of Mexican Americans, they do get involved in wars and they do get involved, but essentially majority of the times they come across as whites, so they get hugely underrepresented. Um, Throughout U.S. history. And apparently, he's one of the oldest Mexican American families in Orange County. He attended segregated schools before enlisting in the U.S. Army for World War II. And he had his wife, whose name is Julia, and she supported the war efforts at Douglas Aircraft in Long Beach. So after he came back from the war, they still lived in segregated households because if we do remember, Orange County had this history of segregation. Mexican Americans weren't, Latinos, Hispanos weren't in the same classrooms as white kids, and so I guess they were trying to like find schools that were integrated, and I guess not even Westminster, Garden Grove, Santa Ana, or El Modena school districts. He didn't want his kids to be in these segregated schools. So, let's see. Alfred organized the Veterans and Citizens of Placentia group to lobby the school district, which desegregated in 1949. Two of Alfred's brothers, three of his brothers-in-laws, and three of his cousins served in the war. So they were all very political. They were very, what's the word I'm looking for? Involved. They cared about this country, and they did what they thought was right during that time, which was to also get involved in the war, help the war efforts. Frederick Aguirre attended desegregated schools. He received a law degree from UCLA in 1971, practiced law, and eventually became a judge in 2002. So he came from becoming a soldier to getting involved in politics and ultimately becoming a judge. I guess he went through a lot. I mean, this man, went through the perseverance and went through his patriotism and countrymanship, and ranked up his his citizenships, and he started racking himself up. He started caring. And then from afterwards, he, along with his wife, who was teaching in the Anaheim high school district for 3 decades, were starting to document members from World War II who were in Orange County of Mexican American descent. And I guess they help out a lot. They have nonprofit Latino Advocates for Education. The group held free community events at Santa Ana College, later Cal State Fullerton, to honor veterans. Those events include parachuting demonstrations and military vehicle displays. Gray Davis, who eventually became governor, and other politicians, they attended the events. Then they started developing it more into books and publishing documents and a website. So I think that's interesting. They even have names of the soldiers who died in World War II. Joseph Agabo from Westminster, Julian Alvarado from Costa Mesa, Daniel Arvizo from Santa Ana, Private Luciano Arzate from Santa Ana, Delfino Casado from Los Alamitos, Martin de la Cruz from Westminster, Saul Diaz from Anaheim, Florentino Gonzalez from Garden Grove, Maurice Juarez from Fullerton. So obviously a lot of these men were from Orange County, so, and obviously Hispanic and Latinos, and they died for this country. So it's just very ironic that in today's politics, Mexican Americans usually get. We are the scapegoat in this politics of current modern American society, I guess, especially in the Midwest. And it's just like crazy how, like, you have people that tend to use like a microscope and they just pinpoint like certain negative, like, they just look at the negative or certain particular instances of making Mexican Americans bad. While in general, I think we have contributed a lot from, like, even as far back as the Mexican American War, Chicanos, the rise, the separation of, I think Mexican Americans have been part of the American process, and probably like after the Civil War. So it's just very crazy how they don't say that we are part of the society. And that's just one of the interesting documents that I came across. See, apparently 3.6 quake shake in Ventura County. That's interesting. So apart from this, I think I'm going to get more involved during Orange County politics as well as Mexican, aside from U.S. politics. So it's going to be a mix of local and our southern border and domestic policies. So that was it for that interesting news article. I personally do like it. I feel like it's very, like, personal in some sense because it happens. It's something that's relevant. It's something that you can see, wow, we're a contribution. So apparently yesterday, the Mexican the administration of AMLO was talking about the continuation of trying to, like, pull through this, trying to, like, get the Accords of Trump and trying to, like, uphold the agreement that they had upon. So AMLO promised to put National Guardsmen in the northern and southern border. That's one of the policies. And despite of it being said by March, but that's a different story. Let's see. Another one is that anyone that enters has to register to, to say who's coming in and out of the country for the sake of their safety. And, like, if someone is seeking for asylum, they have to go through Mexico first. That's one of the propositions. Will it happen? It's very difficult to say right now, but there's a lot of, I need us to make more investigations upon that specific quota. And I think above all, I think it has to do with not necessarily that Mexicans and Central Americans want to go to the U.S. I think it's because it's out of economic hardships. No one wants to leave their home country. It's more about the necessity. People come to the U.S. out of necessity, not because they want to. If people had the chance, if people had the job and economic growth in their home countries, more than likely they would stay in their own home countries. No one is wanting to go to the U.S. No one's trying to, they're not trying to make it into another Latin states of America. It's simply out of their necessity of trying to get out of the hardships. That's what happened to my family. I'm first generation. During the great 1994 recession, throughout the 90 recession of Carlos Salinas, who sold everything to international companies, deflated the peso, fluctuated people coming to the U.S. during the 90s. It's a cause and effect. It's not people. That's the big part of migration and migration, is that it's out of economic hardships, not out of anything else. And it's kind of crazy how people don't realize that. It makes sense to me. I mean, but apparently people obviously have their own political agendas, and they want to use it to their advantage, especially with Trump, who wants to win the 2020 election. And it's crazy how, we can eat up some of these things. I also came across something about Trump wanting during the summer put E15 gasoline, not even regulated. And possibly a theory is that he wants some of his friends, maybe this is my theory, this is my opinion, maybe he has political friends that benefit from these decisions that he makes, especially including the wall and various other circumstances. It could possibly so, but That's just my opinion, and you know, it's crazy how this, you know, the more we tend to look at the superficial problems, but we never look at the root cause of the problems, and that's very important because no one wants to look at the root problem. We just look at the surface. We look at the grass. We go like, okay, I see that, and that's the problem. I'm gonna go cut it, but where it's gonna grow back up. And in order to resolve a lot of these conflicts, we have to, you know, look at the root of the problem. Say, for example, Central America. Central America, they're escaping from poverty, crime rates. A lot of these things, you know, we can even make a Marshall Plan that would help these Central American countries be integrated. This isn't about government; it's more about private entities to help invest in these countries. It's a cooperation of not only government but also private entity banks. You know, money has to get flowing into these countries so that people don't want to leave. It's one of those things that, you know, that you have to look at the root cause of things, but no one likes looking at the root cause of things sometimes. Well, I think that would be it for today. Maybe I need to do more investigation upon my studies and more organized above all. I think I need to still work on various topics that I need to, like, you know, do it one at a time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I think that would be it. If you like this video, give it a subscription. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be active on local and domestic and international policies. And when I mean international, I mean Mexico. That's about it. It's gonna be at Adrian Zermiel 6. You can easily find it on my Instagram too. I'll put a link down there too. And that would be it. Until next time, guys. I'm gonna go back into my research.